What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome on into today's edition of Citywide Special. It is Tuesday, August 22nd, and we are live, ladies and gentlemen. I want to welcome everyone on in, whether you're checking on in from Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. We're live on DSM Media, of course, and it is Tuesday, August 22nd. We have a lot of Eagles, a lot of Phillies, and a lot of Sixers to discuss here today. Of course, the comment section is open here on YouTube today. And of course, today we do have a special guest to help us talk about all things here with our Philadelphia sports. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, please welcome today's guest of DSM Media as well, Mr. Dylan Davis. Dylan, what's up, brother? What's going on,
What's up, man? You got a guest for sure. I don't know how special, but you got a guest today. Don't worry about it.
My man, listen, first off, my man looks like he just came from South Beach. He's got the tan going on, dude. Looking fresh,
Yeah,
man. I
dude.
like it.
Yeah, can't take the hat off because there's wear the hat too long on the beach and there's a nice little pale strip going right across the top of the head. So the hat stays on for the foreseeable future.
That's me with the sunglasses, man.
Yeah.
I can't keep them off in the summer, man. I feel that completely.
Yeah.
Where were you at, man? What beach were you at?
Ocean City. Just
Nice, man.
Ocean City, New Jersey. Yeah, not too
Any
bad.
highlights?
What's up?
Any highlights from the weekend or from the week?
A bunch, but none that I'm not too sure we can speak about on here, but maybe off camera.
Awesome stuff, man. Awesome. I had to check out Ocean City. It's been a while since I've been personally to Ocean City, man. But it's good to have you back, Dylan. I'm sure you have a lot to talk about as well, man. But as we always do here, ladies and gentlemen, it is Citywide Special. So today, ladies and gentlemen, the Citywide Special, we're back with our tequila. We have our tequila añejo from Kirkland. Thank you to our wonderful friends over at Costco for providing us with our shot of the day. And I have here a little stateside, little seltzer, little
Very
vodka,
nice.
little orange, John. So that's what we have. What do you got there, Dylan?
We have a Sensation Hazy IPA from Warwick Brewery.
Hey, there we go. Where's Warwick located?
Bucks County.
Nice.
Not too far from like Richboro.
Okay. We were just a double nickel this past weekend, man.
Very
So
nice. My
100s.
My side of things, my side of town.
Yeah, dude, it's a good one. It's a fun, it's a chill one. It's a chill one.
They're actually becoming a brew pub. So they're gonna have a full kitchen now that they could sell where they can sell food and all.
Dude, that is pretty sick,
Yeah.
man. That's pretty sick. Well, hopefully one of these breweries will be endorsing one of these shows here, man.
Yeah.
But as we always do in my big boobed Puerto Rican
Very nice
here. Salute to everyone. Awesome stuff, man. All right, well, let's get into it today, Dylan. As we always do, guys, and of course, you guys are more than welcome to participate in today's poll of the day. Let me pull it up here real quick. So here we go. So today's poll of the day. Obviously, we're going to talk about the Sixers to start off today. But who's winning the standoff? Is it James? Is it Daryl? Or at the end of the day, will the fans just lose regardless? And of course, the consensus is that the fans will lose here today with 92.9% leading the way. Daryl is second with 7.1. No one's got any votes for James, but you guys can participate in the poll. Follow me at Parcero Philly. But of course, we all got the news today. Woj brought the report. Of course, Daryl Morey. Sorry, not Daryl Morey. James Harden gets fined the $100,000. So, in your opinion here, man, where are we heading with this situation here, Dylan?
Where are we heading? Well, the poll's correct because 110% the fans are going to lose out at the end of this situation. Where we're headed is probably very close to training camp time, if not getting into training camp. Will he show up? Will he not? Obviously, with the new bylaws and the CBA and everything like that, he can be fined. The Sixers can withhold his pay. He really doesn't have a leg to stand on. James Harden has to show up and can't be a nuisance at practice in camp. However, he's still going to find a way to disrupt things. So where we're headed is probably getting rid of James Harden for pennies and nickels on the dollar at this point, which is why the fans lose, because it's just you're not reaching that. You're not getting closer to that goal of getting past the second round. Moving on from James Harden for whatever package Daryl Morey is going to have to muster up is not going to get the job done, man. So we're headed towards what I view as a pretty depressing start to a Sixers season.
Yeah, man. Real quick, I want to say hello to Scotty. Our boy Scotty's in the chat. We got our boy Kata Media checking on. He's got himself a Surfside lemonade today. Okay. Dylan Davis, the MVP. We agree here on this side for
Yeah,
sure, man.
yeah.
So I guess I want to ask here because a lot of the consensus as well, and this might be from the Harden Knights, as I like to call them,
Sure.
but does James have a point at all in this situation? Like, is he right in any of this?
No, no, I spoke on this with Scotty, and that's not to say that Daryl Morey isn't wrong in any of this. I'm not sure. None of us are sure what went down 12, 13, 14 months ago during those contract negotiations when James Harden took a pay cut to help, fix this roster a little bit, but ultimately brought his friends here and PJ Tucker and Montrezl Harrell and Daniel House. And we all applauded that. We all applauded the teammate that James Harden was at that time. But I spoke about this with Scotty yesterday. Even if there was a handshake deal in place when he signed that 2-year deal last offseason, you have to hold up to your side of things on the floor, James. And you simply didn't do that. Parcero, if he was anything like regular season James Harden in the postseason, he would be a Sixer for 4 more years. Daryl Morey would have had no issue giving James Harden a max deal if he was 20-9, 20-8, James Harden, efficient from the floor. Even if they were still a second round exit, he would most likely be back. Yeah. The problem is you saw what the floor looks like at James Harden's play at this point of his career. He has an injury history recently.
Yeah.
He has a low. You can't go from 40-10 to 9-8 on 2 of 11 shooting in a playoff series. The distance can't be the gap can't be that huge. So you have to hold up your side of the bargain if you're James Harden. And he simply didn't do that. So why would Daryl Morey in his right mind turn around and say, it doesn't matter how poorly you played. It doesn't matter if you gave up on your team in game 7. I'm still going to hand you this $4 million max. It doesn't matter if James Harden leaked all those rumors about the Houston Rockets all season long. He has no leg to stand on. And the bottom line, he opted in.
Well, listen, so here's the thing with James, and we talked about this on the show before. James Harden right now, the way I look at it, is just being a spoiled brat. The man doesn't want to own up to what the mishaps were of the Sixers.
Correct.
Reason why he wants to leave is because he wants to get paid. He wants to play ball. He wants a chance to win. But if the team loses, he does not want all that weight on his shoulders. The Sixers lost the second round. Who gets majority of the blame? Joel and James, and rightfully so. Those are your star players. That's who you look at to get you out of this second round. I truly believe that Daryl did keep his word, and he did try to trade James Harden once he opted into the deal this year.
For sure.
But my guy, like, you just saw right now the market for you when you James created all those narratives. Come Christmas time, you're gonna go to Houston in the offseason. Well, guess what Houston said? James, we love you. You'll always be a Rocket legend.
Yeah, we're gonna pivot.
Worth that money right now. And that's where James is at right now. He's trying to create this narrative, and it's so funny. And he forgets that Philadelphia is smarter than what we may appear to be. We know why you're pissed off. We know why you're forcing out. You don't want to hear it. You don't want the pressure. And so, yeah, fans, at the end of the day, we're going to lose out in the situation because even if James does come back, I just don't see this roster doing anything to get out of the second round. Like, I think, if anything, we took a step back. But I guess the best question now to ask, Dylan, if it is true what James is saying, that the main problem right now is Daryl, it's not the organization, it's just Daryl. If you're the Sixers, do you just part ways with Daryl in order to just get something out of this season with James?
No, because at the end of the day, if you are Elton Brand, if you are Sixers ownership, if you're Tyrese Maxey, Joel Embiid, regardless of what his issues are with Daryl Morey at this point off the floor, Daryl Morey is still the president of basketball operations for your franchise. So by him taking a direct shot at your basketball, president of ops, that's a shot at your franchise as well. So no, I don't think there's any healing of this relationship. And not to mention, if you get rid of Daryl Morey to appease James Harden, just like we got rid of Doc Rivers to somewhat appease James Harden at the end of the season, although a lot more goes into the Doc thing, but you're almost validating James Harden's point at that point. And like I said in the beginning of the show, I don't think there's anything there to say that James Harden is correct in this situation. So if you part ways with Daryl Morey, it has to be aside from what's going on with James Harden. I told Scotty yesterday, I would give Daryl Morey one more year. Whatever happens with this James Harden situation, whatever he can muster back for him, whatever roster he can put on the floor this year, he gets one more year. If the Sixers are another first or second round exit and Daryl Morey has not done anything creatively enough with this roster, then you part ways with both of them, and then you try to really restart this thing. But then, that's a whole nother topic, because now you're another year into Joel Embiid's career, and you got a whole lot of other issues. But I did love your point real quick about the fact that he doesn't want to take any of the blame, any of the criticism. Mm-hmm. He doesn't want to be held accountable, and I truly believe that's why he opted in. Here's my thing. James Harden opted in because he saw what the market was. Philly wasn't giving him that max. Houston pivoted. LA can be as interested as they want to appear in trade talks.
At their price.
They weren't giving him that max. No one was giving him that max. So here's what James Harden did. He opted in. He's going to hold the team hostage, and now it's their fault for not getting me to where I want to be, not my fault for not getting the deal from another team in free agency.
Dude, what a piece of crap, man.
He's unreal.
And the thing is like, what hurts, Dylan, is that, like, you and I were part of DSM Media during the trade in 21, the deadline trade when he was in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
We defended James. I know myself, like, I defended James. I had 100%. Nets fans all in my comment section. And look, we're getting a taste of this medicine. And the thing is that, like, the Houston situation, you can understand why he would want to trade out. The Brooklyn situation, you can understand why he'd want to get traded out. The Sixer situation, you see why he wants to get traded out, but there's just no justifying him acting like this whatsoever, man. And this is what's so frustrating about the situation.
Not at all, because if you go to the Brooklyn situation, I agree with you. The Houston thing, you can handle things differently. You don't gotta go to the clubs when the team's on a plane going back home. You don't gotta put on your fat suit and appear out of shape just to get your way. But the Brooklyn and Philly things are interesting because both to him seem toxic, right? He's calling out Daryl Morey for their relationship. Well, if Kyrie Irving and that whole situation in Brooklyn was as toxic as it seemed, and it's part of the reason you wanted out of there and you were holding out and not playing, why didn't you grab a microphone then? Why were you using the other antics to get you out of there? But now you can't get your way out of Philly, so I'm going to grab this thing right here, and I'm going to call Daryl Morey a liar. Not even here. You went to China to do it. Like, you're such a fraud. Like, you're so, oh my God, dude, he couldn't even do it in the US somewhere. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
and then he comes back, and then he calls his local Houston news station to come to wherever he's working out or training or whatever. And then he wants to tell him, like, hey, the relationship with the Sixers, there's no repair. It's too far gone. It's like, just keeps
apparently he'd like to play in China at some point because these fans go absolutely berserk for him. Go play for Shanghai, dude. Go play for the Shanghai Sharks and win a chip if that's what you want to do.
Just do it now, man.
Jesus.
Interesting, Kyle. Daryl's wait, no, that's one. Strip clubs in Philly must be atrocious because James wants to leave that. But I mean, listen, the strip clubs in Philadelphia, they do not compare to some around the country. I'm just saying. Daryl's
Personal
getting
experience, Parcero.
What's up?
Personal experience,
man. Personal experience, man. We do not have good strip clubs around, that's for sure. Daryl's getting canned at the end of the year anyway, but getting rid of him does
agreed.
I'll be honest with you. If he gets canned this year before the season starts, I won't be fazed because my expectations for this team is not very high. Like, I could see this team getting in the first round, getting in the second round again, but I just don't see any way this team gets out of the second round. And yes, the James Harden situation hindered our roster building for this year. But Dylan, we did lose a good amount of talent from that team that did make it to the second round again.
Oh, they're not a good enough team by any stretch. And what Daryl has done so far this offseason, see, that was the thing that kind of is getting so, it's kind of getting overshadowed right now with all this drama. And now blaming Harden was, he made these minuscule moves, right? He made these marginal moves in Patrick Beverley, and he brings back Paul Reed, and you go out and you get Mo Bamba, right? And he's doing these little things where, okay, if you could add some real pieces, now those depth pieces off the bench become much more attractive in a Patrick Beverley and Mo Bamba. The issue is, well, a lot of us had this thought in our heads that we were going to trade Tobias Harris for a couple pieces. Well, apparently that's not happening. And then we thought, well, we're going to trade James Harden for a star or whatever. Well, evidently we can't even get Terrence Mann for James Harden. So now you're running into a season with the same team you had last year plus Pat Bev and Mo Bamba, or you're losing James Harden for almost nothing, and you added Pat Bev and Mo Bamba. So I agree with you, dude. Like, I don't see right now, until Daryl Morey proves me otherwise, I don't see a light at the end of the tunnel for this upcoming season. I don't see a chance in hell where they're a top 4 or 5 team in the East. Like, they might finish 4th or 5th seeding wise. That does not mean I take them as seriously as that type of seed when it comes to winning a title. I'm out on them right now.
Well, in these type of situations, a fan base can only look at an owner. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is a freaking owner right here. Huh.
Is it? But we still like to win.
Yeah, I mean, you're no stranger. You're no stranger to sports teams. Managing general partner of the.
Look at Troy.
Look at Troy.
Yeah,
Wait, just look at Troy's face real quick.
I mean, you're no stranger to
right here.
Professional sports teams.
Dylan, that's our owner, man.
He doesn't know what to do with his hands. Doesn't know.
How about you put him back into the Sixers, man? I don't know, Josh.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, yeah, or Kata's right, or he's just drunk. I have no idea, dude.
Dude,
do you remember on Monday Night Football years ago when Eminem was in the booth and he was? You don't remember this?
No.
Look, he was high as a kite in this Monday Night Football booth, like all perked out or something, dude.
It was like Joe Namath on Monday Night Football. If you remember that one. That's freaking great. What is your thoughts, man, on our guy, the Harris Group buying another professional franchise?
I mean, face value, it comes across as disappointing and bad because you see all the problems we're having internally, and it's just like, well, his focus is elsewhere, clearly. You know what I mean? So it does make you wary from that point of view. But yeah, I mean, I think ownership is a big issue with the Sixers right now, and that's why you see internally everything else that is going on. It's just kind of a trickle down effect. But he just seems like a clown anyway. Like he's just, I don't know.
Just like one of those like guys that just ran into a bunch of money, doesn't know what to do with it, and so it's like, well, let me buy NBA, NFL, MLS, NHL, Premier League. This man's got all the toys that he could possibly want. It's it's funny.
But yet he doesn't own one successful franchise. Not one.
None. They're all like mediocre at best.
Yeah.
And like just look at like the situations this team has had since he's taken over, right? So obviously like the process years, that was really controversial, right? And then you go into the Colangelo, the burner
gate.
Where we go? We go to all the draft picks, right? You go to
went to Elton.
Yeah. You give like, dude, one of the most underrated situations for this team was giving the reins of general manager after the Colangelo things to Brett Brown.
Oh yeah.
Goes and drafts Zaire Smith over Michael Bridges, dude.
Yeah. Got an allergy.
Ben Simmons, now James Harden. Oh, the tampering last year? Like, dude, good ownership. Like Jeffrey Lurie doesn't have this crap happening.
No, if it happens, great franchises, if something like this happens, they learn from it. And things like this will never continue to occur. But when the same thing continues to happen over and over and over again, and you find yourself in controversy after controversy after controversy, it's time to look in the mirror, bro. Like it starts at the top at this point. It's not just a coincidence that every general manager, or every coach, or every highly talented, every first round draft pick you bring in finds themselves in some sort of shit here in the city.
Jimmy Butler said it best, man, when he called us out in that JJ Redick podcast, man. We were a joke of an organization. There's a reason why he wanted to leave, man.
Yep.
They're gonna make a 15-part Netflix doc on the atrocity of the Sixers over the last 15 years, man.
They could.
I would like that. I would like
They
a
could.
documentary looking into what exactly went down over these past 10 so years.
Dude,
now.
let me ask you something. The Flyers, although they're in a very bad state right now, and they're going through this entire rebuild process right now with Danny and Jonesy, and obviously as a fan, you start to see the light at the end of the tunnel with shedding the bad contracts and the Mitch Cobb pick and everything like that. But the Sixers get away with so much more. The Sixers get away with just being a mediocre franchise so much more than the team lower than them on the food chain here in the city. Like the Sixers have a larger fan base, I would say. Maybe not a more passionate, because we know how the strict Flyers fans are, that group, right? But the Flyers get held accountable over the last decade or two so much more than the Sixers do. Like in the moment, we rip the Sixers apart. But then it's like once the next season starts, we wipe our hands clean and just put these blinders on again, like things are going to be different. How did we get here where they have less of a responsibility to fix problems than the Flyers do?
And I think they're starting to now get that accountability. I think what it is, Dylan, is that, Philadelphia's not a dumb sports market, right? We understand how the NBA works. You need those star players. And we've had those star players. The problem is those star players haven't been able to get over the hump. I think like having Joel, having James here, having Ben here for a little bit, I think like that is what gave Sixers fans that hope, like, okay, well, maybe next year we get a little bit deeper. You add this piece, add that piece, add that coach, add this coach. And we would get over the hump.
But
I think that's what happened over these past couple of years.
I agree, and I'm part of the problem. To Scotty's last comment, me and him do pregame the last 2 years, and we're going to continue to do it again this year. But that's the problem I'm talking about. Putting those blinders on and believing that this time it's going to be different. Dude, no one believed that this team was different than past years, more so than me and Scotty this year. And we got knocked right back down to reality real hard and real quickly. And it's like, I'm not doing that again.
Yeah.
I'm going to try not to do that again. I talk a big game on August 22nd, but.
And dude, they did look deeper last year than they did.
Well, let's be honest with you. They were 5 minutes away from getting over that hump. And then the MVP didn't touch the ball.
And another game 7, they didn't show up, man. And that is the story of being a Sixers fan, man. That is the story of it. The Sixers can't even get the arena right, man.
Yeah.
Dylan.
Scotty, that last comment, man. I know. I don't want to talk about it right now.
Who's the common denominator here?
Right there. I don't want to do it.
Well, Hans and Embiid, man. And his so that discussion is going to start coming after this shenanigans. That's going to be the next topic.
Well, he's got shenanigans of his own going on right now. And Joel Embiid was undoubtedly my favorite athlete in the city of Philadelphia over the last 5+ years. He has trickled on down easily to number 3 with what is happening right now, dude.
The dude just won the MVP, man.
Yeah. I can't take the immaturity and what feels like lack of accountability with him as well. Man, I can't take it anymore. I talk about this all the time. Whether he is trolling, grow up. Or if you're not trolling, stand behind what you said in the first place. That's my beef with him, right, man? On social, James Harden makes these comments. He deletes processing from his bio. He deletes the location of Philadelphia from his bio. Is he trolling? Is he being serious? Maybe should have scored more than 17 points in Game 7. Maybe should have touched the ball. Like I can't take it much more, man.
I get you, man, and that's why we say on the show we have Sixers fatigue. This is an interesting one here, real quick. In the city or out the city? Or I'm sorry, in downtown or out downtown, I should say.
I mean, I like the complex. I love the sports complex down there. Obviously, wish they had their own building, but that's how a lot of the hockey and basketball arenas work anyway. When you see the pictures of the original plan for how the building's going to look, if it turned out anything like that, it looks awesome. It looks beautiful. It looks majestic, right? In the middle of the city. But I hate it. Like, I'm not a public transportation guy. I'm not a let me hop on SEPTA or the train and get down to the game. I'm not that guy. I like driving down. I like to forget tailgating. Like that's gone down there. So, yeah. I mean, it's inevitably happening. But what's up?
How often do we tailgate Sixers?
I mean, I do when I go. I mean, maybe that's just me.
I feel you, man. I just see it being a nightmare, honestly.
Yeah.
Like my fiance, she worked not anymore. She's now full-time remote, but she was working right across the street from City Hall. Dude, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, get the hell out of Center City. Mm-hmm. And imagine having an NBA franchise down there on game day. Forget about it, man. So
does it help crime? Does it worsen crime? I don't know.
That remains to be seen. My concern, Dylan, like, I'm all about culture, and I love Chinatown, and I just don't want them to get messed with. We need that in our city. So that's
I'm pretty sure they are. I'm pretty sure they're getting the boot.
Yeah. If they mess with that, I'm out. I'm out on that, man. We can't mess with Chinatown, brother. All right. So as we shift gears here, we got Dylan. Dylan is one of the best at talking baseball in the city. I want to switch to the diamond here, man. So it's been a weird week, right? It's been like very a la last year, right? Like September, like, yes, dude, it's not fun. It's not fun. But yesterday was a lot of fun, Dylan.
Lots of fun last night.
First off, anytime you beat Kapler, that brings a big smile to Phillies fans' faces.
Oh, yeah.
It's an important series. Giants right behind in the wild card race. Bryce Harper gets the little league home run.
Yeah.
You spank them 10-4. Noel looks solid, man.
Schwarber hits one to the moon. What'd you say? I missed that.
We were looking good yesterday. What'd you think about yesterday's game?
Yeah, no, yesterday was huge, and I agree with you, man. It's been a weird week because this team was playing so solid, literally up until I was going away for the week last week, and then they lose the series at home to the Twins. They get their ass kicked by the Blue Jays, but then they kind of kick the Blue Jays' ass and split with them. Then you lose the series in Williamsport to the Nationals. But this is a huge series, and this is a difference-making series right now for me because it would tell me one thing. If the Phillies are able to win the series or hell, knock on wood, be able to sweep the San Francisco Giants over the next 2 games, it would tell me that they're aware of the moment and they're aware of what's going on. And Alec Boehm alluded to that on the post-game show last night, talking to McCarthy and Kruk, basically saying, look, we're not dumb. We know the standings. We know what's going on in the wild card right now. So for them to take that and kind of turn it up a notch, to me, that translates to postseason baseball. Everyone gets so caught up. And I know it's tough, man. It sucks to lose a series to the Washington Nationals. It sucks to lose a series at home, right, to the Twins. But you can't get caught up in the marathon. But when you can pick out important and key moments like this Giant series and like the next, 8 games after this on the 9-game homestand, this is the important stretch because it would tell me that they know what's going on. And they were able to take control of the situation and step up their game, which that's what playoff baseball is. It's knowing it's win or go home and how important the stakes are. And they were able to show up last year. So it hasn't been fun the last week, but it'll get a lot better if they can continue to turn it up tonight.
It is interesting because like last night did feel like the intensity of like a playoff game. And I saw that from those guys, and that was the bright part about it. And like you mentioned with the post game show, like you got to treat it like so, because yes, the thing is, we always allude to it. Right now, the wild card race is tighter than many people may anticipate. One bad week, you could put yourself in a bad spot there. So it is important to keep ground. And I'm with you. I don't overreact over a loss. Like, yeah, it did suck losing to Nationals because, dude, we were taking care of them ever since 2020. Man, that was fun.
Yeah.
That was fun beating up on them. But you take the wins when you can. I would like to see some more series wins for sure. One thing though, and I want to get your opinions on the batting lineup, right? Brandon Marsh comes back over the weekend. Mm-hmm. That is huge. A lot of talk over the city, Topper move guys down. Obviously, a lot of people have a problem with Schwarber leading off, man. Like, what is your take? What is your thought on just the batting lineup in general on a night-to-night basis?
I am not the guy to argue with about Schwarber leading off because he's my leadoff hitter. You can argue with me till I'm blue in the face. You're not going to get through to me. Kyle Schwarber is this team's leadoff hitter. The bottom line is when Kyle Schwarber is batting 1, the Phillies win ball games. Last year, year 1, went to the World Series. This year, once he got put back in I forget what the numbers are, it's a crazy win percentage when he's leading off. So Kyle Schwarber is my leadoff hitter. Bottom line, sees more pitches, gets more at-bats, gets more swings, more home runs. No, he would not be hitting 33 home runs if he was hitting 5th or 6th. Get that through your thick skulls, please. So Kyle Schwarber batting 1. The issue at hand right now is Turner and Bohm. Topper just switched those two back in the lineup. It's hard to argue with last night when Trey has a 2-hit night, Bohm homers, flashing the glove in the field. I get all that, but for the time being, I probably would have left that alone. I get the whole point of moving Trey down lower in the lineup was to get his head right and was to get him back on track. You accomplish that, thank God. So when you see Trey Turner heating up, you automatically assume bump him back up in the lineup. Issue is Alec Bohm was shining in the 2-hole. I wouldn't have messed with it yet, but it worked out last night pretty good. Outside of that, I know it's never going to happen, but I would hope down the stretch my 9 would be consistent. Topper doesn't like to do it, but I think great baseball teams and winning baseball teams have almost a consistent lineup night in and night out. And my 9 would be Bryce Harper at first, Schwarber DHing, Bohm at third, Rojas in center. I think the kid's a ball player and he should be in the lineup every night. Okay. And Marsh out in left field because they both need to be on the diamond at the same time. Obviously, Costi and Wright, JT, Turner, Stott, all that stuff. But yeah,
real quick on that point because I was going to ask you that as well. So Pache has been gearing up to come back. Yeah, so you're going Rojas over Pache.
Yeah, sorry, Kata. Yes, yes, I am. Yes.
No, listen, Rojas. I like the upside with him, and I think you can't go wrong with either one of those guys. My thing, Dylan, is like if there is a struggle. I agree with you, like playoff time and long term, Schwarber is my leadoff guy. But there are times like when there's like that lull with that, the bats aren't consistent.
I agree. You're looking for something to change up.
Give me something. Give me a pop. Change it up a little bit.
I feel that. But isn't that kind of Girardi-ish at that point? When things weren't working last year, you saw 900 different lineups, and that was part of the issue.
Like with Girardi, though, it was musical chairs night in, night out. My thing is, like, if you have a couple games in a row where this lineup is not produced, like last week was a perfect example where the bats were not. Well, I'm sorry, the week prior to that.
Right, when Schwarber's 0 for his last 19, yeah. I feel you.
That's when I say, like, all right, let me just put Trey here or Stott here just for this game. Schwarber comes back in the next game. That's kind of what I meant. But, like, yeah. He sticks to a gun, and I can't blame him too much for that because that's the type of guy Topper is. He's going to have those players' backs at the end of the day, and that's what you want in your manager. And so that's why I can't really blame him, but that's just my only gripe.
I think my biggest gripe with Topper this year has been his inability early on to keep Marsh and Stott in the lineup against lefties. He's kind of stopped that a little bit. He had Marsh hit 7 against the lefty yesterday, which, I ultimately didn't mind. You get the more right-handed power up in front of him, but he's kind of stopped that, so I don't hate it as much. Josh Harrison's no longer on the team, so you don't have to worry about seeing him in the lineup every 3 days. But I think it's been fun, man. I really do. I talk about it all the time on the morning show with Scotty, and it's the first time I've talked about it with you in probably a while. I love the Schwarber leadoff argument. I love to get into it with people. I love to hear their point of views because I understand. Like, I understand your point of view. I understand it's not traditional. I understand when you see Bryson Stott hitting 300 and his ability to work counts and everything like that. He's your prototypical leadoff hitter. But where is Kyle Schwarber most valuable to this team? Well, first of all, he's got the second or third highest walk rate in the National League or in all of MLB this year. So the dude gets on base a decent amount. He walks almost better than anyone, right? So he can work a count. He can see enough pitches. The bottom line is what I said to you earlier. It's not rocket science to me. He's not going to – that average is never going to get higher. If you move him to 4, 5, 6 in the lineup, that average is going to stay $180, $190. Now, would you prefer $180, $190 with him hitting 37 home runs? Or would you prefer $180, $190 with him hitting 27 home runs?
That's true, man.
The more pitches, the more swings, the more at-bats gives him the better chance to hit one out of the ballpark. And I'd like to remind everybody, for the most part, he only leads off one time a night. So
Yeah, that's true.
everyone gets so fed up with the first at bat of the game. Most of the time, someone else is leading off an inning.
That's true. I do agree with this statement here.
That's what I said. Harper will be at first, and he can DH.
That'd be ideal. That would be ideal. Marsh back, that definitely helps that notion for sure.
Well, especially when you see how the Giants play defense last night and how things can bite you pretty quickly.
Yeah, that's facts, man. So today's game's at 6:40. Kyle Harrison is going to be going up against Taijuan Walker.
Yeah, what's he going to pitch? 2 1/3 or 2/3 of an inning?
Just don't give me that Saturday game where he walked 9 batters.
Oh no, my bad. I'm talking about Gabe Kapler's love affair with the starter. Get throwing someone out for 1 inning and then getting a starter into the game. You nerd, you absolute analytic nerd. Gabe, oh my God, dude.
Dude, looking back at Gabe here in Philly, it's pretty wild. It is pretty wild. I
don't have another word. You're a nerd. Let me throw this guy out for 1 inning, hope it works, and then I'll get to my starter.
What's their farm system like these days? I'm curious.
The Giants?
Yeah.
I have no idea, to be honest with you. I just think it's funny because some teams have to do that. Some teams with injuries and lack of pitching depth, they have to throw out the starter, right? The guy to throw 1 or 2 innings before they get their actual guy in there. He's just doing it because he wants to. They don't need to.
Okay, I need to ask you this because this is a great question by Kata. So I'm going to throw one more person here. So who's worse as far as the experimental coaches in Philadelphia? Yeah. You going Gabe, Chip, and I'm going to throw Dave Haxtell in there as well.
Oh, man.
Pick your poison, Dylan.
This is tough, bro.
Some bad ones, dude.
As a coach himself, just on the field, thinking, just from game to game, Gabe's worse. But as, Chip tried to take over as GM, Chip traded Shady for Kiko. Chip was just an asshole. Chip was worse overall. But if I'm talking about Chip coaching a football game or Gabe managing my baseball team, Gabe Kapler was worse.
That is true, man. That is true. Dude, the fact that we gave Chip the keys to the whole.
Oh my God.
That was absolutely
it's a big part of the greatest Super Bowl parade speech of all time. Yeah. Howie Roseman shoved in a closet.
And that turned out really, really well. Okay.
Yeah, actually, now that we talk about it, thank you, Chip.
Yeah. People don't do that enough. People don't remember. But the thing is if I'm not mistaken, Chip did bring in Melk as a free agent. Chip did draft Ertz and Johnson.
You could be correct.
I'm trying to think. Well, Nick Foles was more of a draft pick by the Andy era, but that was Howie. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, there were parts of that team that was a big part of what.
You remember how electric that first Monday night game was against Washington with Chip and Vic?
Yes.
When they scored 50.
Now imagine Vic was 5 years younger in that offense. That would have been pretty nice to see, man.
The problem is once the league caught up to his college offense, it was game over.
No. Dylan, we ran the same 4 plays.
Yeah. He just thought if we didn't stop running, if we ran a play and then everybody just ran to the line of scrimmage as fast as they could, we would just tire everybody out.
And our defense was getting tired in that in the same right, man.
Idiot.
So tonight we're actually facing off against the Giants' top prospect, according to
Interesting.
We wouldn't have Vic if he didn't do what he did, though.
It's fact.
2010 was one of my favorite years as an Eagles fan. That was so much fun.
Is that the Djax punt return year?
That was Djax. That was also just Vic's first year back as a starter.
Yeah.
And it was a great story.
It was electric. That's when Kevin Cobb was actually the starter, right? Kevin Cobb, week 1 against Green Bay. got concussed or whatever, and then Vic took over.
Dude, he
if I
got beat
remember
up in the
correctly.
NFL. And
Yeah, we
Arizona
actually
too.
we wore the Kelly Greens that night.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
BG's the only one to wear Kelly Green twice in different
Wow.
occasions as an Eagle, man.
Interesting.
It's good times, man. It's good times. Well, you want to talk? You want to finish with the birds here, man? You want to talk some birds football?
I mean, why not?
Talk some birds here. So obviously we had practice here today against the Colts.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, Shane came back, right? We all remember Shane Steichen, dude. But there were fireworks, man.
Yeah.
We had some camp battles, some
I'm
camp
all for it.
tussles.
Yeah.
Kelsey stepping up for Gainwell, man. And then I forget this player's name, but he pretty much said in the presser that Jason needs to watch out to, which I'll look that up, man.
It was whoever he went after the very next play. They said he went after him and blindsided him or whatever for his hit on Gainwell. I forget the dude's name. That's how irrelevant he is to me. So
it's like a linebacker named Franklin.
Yeah.
I know Crossing Broad tweeted out, so I'm just gonna pull that up real quick. But
yeah,
dude, I feel like we do get in a few amount of these those heated practices, man.
I'm all for it, man. It's competition. That's all. Once you go through a long camp, the way that it's set up, and you're going against the same guys and your teammates day after day, you're not, for the most part, you're not going to fight your teammates. I know it happens from time to time around the league. Hell, Kelsey's brother Travis ended up punching 2 of his teammates this camp, so it does happen. But like for the most part, nothing crazy goes on. But you're getting into your 3rd week of preseason. You're battling, with these number ones from the other team. Let's get after it. I mean, as long as no one hurts themselves, right? As long as Kelsey doesn't throw a punch and breaks his hand on a helmet, I don't give a shit. Get after it.
Yeah, we definitely don't need that. So here is the actual presser here.
To be honest, our practice tempo is our practice tempo. That kind of happens when you joint practice against other organizations. Sometimes your speed ain't they speed. People get offended. That's life. So we'll be okay. We got some good work in. We compete on Thursday.
Never saw Kelsey coming, I guess, obviously.
Yeah, it's funny, obviously growing up in Philly, watching him play for a long time, a lot of respect for him. Talked to him a little bit after we played him last year. Thought the OGs would at least look me in the eye before, but it's all good. I'm going to get a chance to look him in the eye on Thursday, so we can be okay.
Oh, shit. What does he mean by that?
Here's my question, right? Here's the ironic part about it. Kelsey went after him for a reason, for his late hit on Gainwell after the play. So my question was, did he look Gainwell in the eye before he went after Gainwell on the initial thing? You know what I mean? Like it's the woe it's me story right now with, I thought Kelsey would have looked me in my face before he went after me. Did he look Kenny G in his face before he went after Kenny G and made Kelsey go after him? Yeah.
It sounds like one of those things that we just needed to be there in practice, but I
also saw Derek Barnett got into it with Anthony Richardson, and not to lie to you, that pissed me off. I can't stand Derek Barnett, dude. I can't deal with it. Literally, it's always him. Yeah, it's always him. He got into it with Landon Dickerson, which I get it. I did see that it could have been Dickerson's fault, but it's like the 3rd time Derek Barnett missed last year, and I feel like things were pretty peaceful. No stupid penalties, no roughing it, not a lot of mishaps. Now he's back in camp, and I've seen about 3 reports of fight Derek Barnett. Dude, cool it.
He's got a temper problem, man.
Which is fine, but just don't cost your team in the regular season. Remember the Green Bay game 2-3 years ago when he had 3? Just calm down, man. Go get a sack once in a while, drink some Gatorade, and get back on the field every 10% of the downs.
But it just feels like as he gets older, it gets worse. Because I don't remember this in his rookie year.
I don't know. Well, apparently we thought he was Reggie White coming out of Texas. So
when you break the record,
a lot of different things.
We also thought that what was that guy's name? Oh, that's gonna bother me. Who was that small running back in 2017 that broke all the Marshall Faulk's records?
Oh, stop.
Donnell Pumphrey.
Yeah, bro. Oh, Tennessee, not Texas. My bad.
Derek.
Yeah. Oh, dude, Donnell. Who did we take? We took Donnell Pumphrey over a decent amount of other backs that are in the league right now.
I was mad because I was looking for a power back, and I remember his name Alex Collins get selected a couple picks after that by Seattle, and he lasted a lot longer than Pumphrey.
Didn't something just
Humphries
happen to
number.
Alex Collins?
I'm not sure. It honestly wouldn't surprise me. But we got Penny, which kind of reminds me of Collins, but better. So we'll definitely see how that turns out, man. But this is why Dylan, like people last 2 years who were always saying,
dude, he died.
"Oh shit."
That's what the report was. Yeah.
Damn,
You
dude.
said the name, and I knew I saw a tweet last week.
Wait, this happened recently?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Once you said the name, I was like, wait a second.
He died in a car crash. From what I see in New York Post. Damn, dude. Well, listen. May you rest in peace, man. Dude, I swear I have no idea. Fuck. How we bounce back from this one, man? Well, no, seriously, man. Thoughts and prayers go out to Alex Collins, man. Well, that's who I wanted. That's who I wanted over Donnell Pumphrey, man. Like a week. Thanks, Cole. Well, shouts to Cole, man, for keeping us in the loop here in the chat here, man. But
real fact checker.
Yeah, man. But real quick here. So first off, this is why I love these joint practices, because like you get that competitive edge out of these guys, and like you see how like you're hearing tweets about AJ and Devontae Smith tearing it up, which it's finally we got good wide receiver play after all these years, by the way. But this is why I prefer these joint practices. Like preseason, that's for the guys trying to make the
They're
squad.
better than
That's why
I agree. Yeah. No, I remember me and the Beard, me and Phil last year when he would do training in the AM every morning. And we would talk about the fact that you get more out of joint practices from a fan's perspective and a competition perspective than you do in the preseason, because all our eyes are on is the number ones. And when you're watching preseason, you either don't get the number ones or you get them for a drive or two and they're not going that hard, and that's it. And these joint practices, it's a lot of what you saw with the videos and the highlights of AJ and Devontae today. It's your QB1, line up one-on-one outside, run a route, and that's that. Like there's no so it's kind of laid back, but it's a lot of one-on-one competition from the ones.
Yes. And
that's what you kind of see how they match up. I mean, AJ toasted Kenny Moore a couple times today, and it was like, all right, well, you're talking about one of the, top 10, top 15 corners in the league. So yeah, open joint practice.
I mean, listen, could you imagine like fans seeing what took place today? How crazy fans would have gone?
No, there probably would have been a few fans on the field.
That is true, man. That is true. So with this Eagle squad here, real quick, for you personally, what's your main concern, your biggest concern with this team?
Man, that's tough because I don't see anything holding this team back,
right,
aside from bad luck and injuries. But the reason I'll use that as my main concern is because of how scot-free they almost got off of it, injury-wise last year. Like Jalen got nicked up, and from the reports that are coming out from McManus today, apparently it was almost a lot worse than we all knew with that collarbone. But he only missed 2 games, came back for the playoffs. Goddard missed some time, was back for the playoffs. CJ Gardner-Johnson missed some time, but was back. They got away pretty scot-free from injury concerns. So that never normally happens for teams back-to-back years. So that's a worry I have. But to Kata's point, I do agree. I would say the linebacker and safety rooms are definitely the weakest. But from what I've heard, Zach Cunningham has something left in the tank. You put that next to Nakobe Dean, who we haven't heard a ton of positives about ever since the first day or two of camp, but he's got that excitement factor, like where all eyes are on board to see how Nakobe Dean looks as first year as a starter. I'm not sold on Reed Blankenship, but I told Scotty yesterday I'm willing to take off my doubter's cap because evidently he's locked up a starting job since day 2 of camp. So there's clearly something there that I don't know about. So I'll have to just give him the benefit of the doubt. I love Sidney Brown. I think he has a role on this team in the safety room. So they're definitely the weakest 2 rooms in the roster, but I think there's some promise there. But yeah, I would definitely say injuries, dude.
Yeah, man. I think I'm going with the linebackers. Nakobe Dean has spent some time on the injury report as well. Hasn't really, like you said, stood out in general Zach Cunningham's really been the main one that's kind of stood out. We just had Miles Jack retire. He just said, I'm good, going to trade school. And that was really it.
Crazy.
But yeah, it's a freaking wild story. But I think with the linebacker position, which isn't like, we don't rely a lot on linebackers. I mean, who really does in 2023? But I mean, TJ Edwards, I feel like his play last year was extremely underrated. And then just
For sure.
his ascendance was pretty impressive as well. Being a guy who was just pretty much a run stopper as a linebacker to being an overall solid linebacker, got paid this offseason. So trying to replace that, Kaiser White wasn't too hard for replacing, but like I'm not feeling too comfortable with what we have right now at the linebacker position. So that's for me personally what I would be concerned with. Cotta's a little worried about the wide receiver depth too.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't seen too much out of Olamide Zaccheaus. He did get banged up in the last preseason game and didn't come back for concern reasons, but he was viable in Atlanta. Quez obviously has his hands issues at times, but everyone loves a good comeback story, right? Let me ask you this. I don't know how much more time you have left for the show, but
yeah, go ahead.
I was thinking about this morning, and I'm going to do a segment with it maybe tomorrow or Friday with Scotty. The Eagles obviously got to the mountaintop last year.
Right.
They weren't able to get over the hump. Guys have departed. They've drafted well. Guys have come back in, yada, yada. I know my answer. I'm curious to hear yours. The Eagles will win the Super Bowl if
the Eagles will win the Super Bowl if the defense does just enough, because this offense is going to take another step. And I think for most part, the consensus in the cities that our concern isn't really on the offense, but is this defense good enough? I think the pass rush is good enough, but the back seven is really what does concern me, right? And, dude, TJ Gardner-Johnson, that was a lot of interceptions today. I just talked about TJ Edwards as well. So you are missing some players that were pretty big last year. Health is definitely a big part. But
yeah,
I think personally, it's having that defense keep up in some of those big games. And there were some big plays that defense made down the stretch as well, man.
No, it's funny because, I mean, obviously I agree with Cott. I just told you my biggest concern was health. So that plays a major factor in winning the Super Bowl. But our answers are very eerily similar because mine has to do with Sean Desai.
I think I like him so far.
And what Sean Desai can get out of this defense that Gannon couldn't. That's the difference maker to me, because I agree with your answer 100%. I think we all, and maybe we're wrong for assuming this because things change year to year and players, go up and down. But I think we're all in agreement that this offense is going to be a top 5 unit, if not a lot higher than that this year. When you bring back basically everybody, Jalen gets another year, Smitty gets another year, and then you bring in this running back room with Swift and Penny and all these guys. You're just assuming the offense is there. The defense, we know, with the sack totals and the turnover rates and everything, that was great last year, but they just didn't have that it factor against the potent offenses, against the Patrick Mahomes of the world. My question is, can Sean Desai get something different out of this unit that Jonathan Gannon never could? Can they be a little bit tougher? Can they be a little bit more fierce? Sidney Brown has made comments. Sean Desai himself has made comments. We want people to feel us on the football field. That's the defense I'm looking for, because that combined with I agree with you. The sack totals might not be in the 70s again. They're going to be close to tops in the league, right?
Yeah.
The turnovers will come. The question is, can we make offenses feel us as a defense? And if Sean Desai can get that out of them, I think the Eagles can get back to another Super Bowl.
How many people were scared of the Eagles defense last year in reality?
That's the question, right? Like they were very, very good. And against mediocre opponents, they were great. And I gave Gannon a lot of props in the regular season. But when you look back in hindsight and strip everything down, he wasn't nearly good enough against top-level quarterback play. Dude, he played Patrick, and I know it's Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, but they played Patrick Mahomes 2 times in 2 seasons, and the defense didn't force a punt. They didn't get a stop, dude.
And those are all things that definitely need to be corrected if you're gonna try to beat the likes of a Pat Mahomes, man.
Yeah.
And gotta listen, it's not about one guy, it's about the team overall. So although a lot of guys did have a career year, other guys need to step up, and that's the beauty of this as well, man. Dylan,
Right,
man.
just like when Jalen Carter wins Defensive Player of the Year.
Dude, he's a menace. He's a freaking menace,
Monster.
man. I absolutely love it, man. Dylan, we're gonna keep doing this for next week for sure, man. But I really do appreciate you coming in here, man.
Of course, brother.
Plug away, man. Where can people find you?
Obviously at DSM_media on Twitter,
baby.
but we're redoing some things with the YouTube channel. So if you guys don't know, check us out on YouTube at DSM Media Philadelphia. That's where you can find this show, Citywide Special. It's where you can find the Faithful Fanatics show every Monday and Wednesday and Friday. It's also where you can find DSM pregame lives come Eagles and Sixers seasons an hour before game time. And then check us out, of course, on YouTube at DSM NFL Turf Talk. We'll be live every Thursday and Sunday during the football season.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I'm excited for more. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Kata, I appreciate you for tuning on in, man. I really do. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe for more. We'll be back at it again. We'll be back on Thursday. Reminder, tomorrow is a Wednesday night watch along. It's the special edition because, well, the Phillies are playing a little bit earlier, so we're also going to be going live a little bit earlier as well. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Dylan Davis. Of course, I am JP, better known as El Parcero Philly. And you guys, enjoy the rest of your day. Let's go Philly Sports.